Here. Mark Hoskins? Here. John Tilbert? Here. Okay, all are present. If you please stand and join me for pledge of allegiance. Okay, has everybody had a chance to look over last month's meeting minutes? Been moved and seconded. Any comment? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote on approval of the minutes of March 25th. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion passed. And we also have the approval of the minutes from the joint PC 425 meeting with Cedar Springs. Has everybody had a chance to look at them?
Sure, why, I can use this other, I suppose. Okay. On this page 2, under the quote for $15,250 from the city engineer regarding extensive sidewalk studies, etc. The second sentence says this would require Solon Township to secure their own engineer quote and sidewalk study to move forward with a joint funding application. That wasn't my recollection of what was said. I wondered what you guys thought. We would not be required to get a quote for our own engineer. I was under the understanding that the $15,250 would take care of the whole study. We would be sharing that cost with the city. They asked if we could get a separate quote if we wanted to, perhaps just to see if the first quote was a good quote. That was my understanding.
Yeah, I believe you're right on that. That was the way that was. What do we need to change on that? Take that sentence out. Yeah.
But we would be required to secure our own engineer.
Correct.
For sidewalk study. We would be getting a quote from our own engineer. Compare it with the quote from the city. And then potentially move forward with the study.
Yeah, because that is the way it was discussed.
Something, if we can reword it after the meeting or something like that. We're going to start at approve these tonight.
No, we necessarily do not have to. No, we can wait. Okay, let's get some clarity on that, and we may have to do some rewording. Then you have another spot.
And one other spot down at the bottom of page 2, it talks about indentions by existing business allow future ones to connect to sidewalk. I really have no idea what that means. I know what an indention is. It would allow future ones to connect to sidewalk. Future businesses, I'm not sure what they're after there. Again, it's something we can clarify before we approve this.
Yeah, I think we will table this for now, and we'll have to go, we may have to get a hold of Cedar and see how their minutes look on that and redo it, and we can always approve it next month.
I'll make a motion that we table minutes, Tuesday, March 31st, 2026, for the joint meeting.
Been moved and seconded, any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote on the motion to lay this on the table, and we will bring it up next month after we have a chance to do some clarity on it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion passed. We will do some looking into that and get that clarified for next month. Okay, everybody had a chance to look at the agenda. Anything? I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Been moved and seconded, any discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All in favor of approval of the agenda tonight, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion passed. Okay, is there any public comment on agenda items? Nothing with the public hearing or anything, it's just on agenda items.
Hello, Dwayne Ritter, 17 Mile Road. In reference to your item under unfinished business you guys will be speaking about this evening, first of all, I'd just like you to take into consideration everything that was mentioned at the last meeting regarding, the speed of the traffic on the road, the hills and so on that are there. And I just wanted to share one more thing with you is, I just learned in speaking with my neighbor who has a couple elementary children, the bus will not stop, Cedar Springs School Bus will not stop on that road for their children where they live. For whatever reason, my understanding is it's a safety concern. And I just wonder, adding businesses to this road, I live between Algoma and Pine Island. So it's quite hilly there. I just wonder what your thoughts might be on that. If we're going to have residences that are being told already that they can't stop and pick up the children there with a school bus because of unsafe conditions, what's going to be in the future if we start adding additional driveways to the road? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on the agenda? Seeing none? Oh, there's one more, okay.
Pat Snyder, 1937 17 Mile Road. I just want to reiterate from last time, there is a limited sight distance on that road. Particularly, like I said, my driveway is, I have to wait and look at each hill coming both ways because I can't see anything that gets closer than that. I have to count each vehicle coming to me. It's not a good situation. There are already accidents on White Creek and Edgerton, and the state is reactive, not proactive. Nothing will happen until accidents happen and injuries, deaths, and property damage will result. I was told last time it was a Class A highway, which won't help the situation one way or the other. Physically, it's still not conducive to having a business district there. And the 10,000 square feet of building is not a small business. That would be bad. Infrastructure, there's no water or sewer. We were told last time that there is internet and gas, which is a poor substitute for both. The Wendy's is the closest water you can get if you need to fill up a fire truck, and that's if you can get through at Edgerton and White Creek because of accidents. And there's also a high water table, which has become very, very apparent in the last week or so. And I'm afraid that septic won't, or it'll be tough to get septic in there for any business. The people along 17 Mile Road will have limited usage of the land, and they were all against it. And no one spoke out for the data center or the commercial zoning last time, and there were dozens of people on both. And just remember, please, that you represent the people who live here, not the people who might live here. And so hopefully you remember who you work for, even if your attorney doesn't think he works for us. So thank you very much.
Okay, anything else on the agenda items? Seeing none, we're gonna proceed. Okay, first thing we have is our scheduled public hearing on the rezoning of Algoma Avenue on the ordinance amendment. Ross, do you wanna give us the updates?
Can you hear me through this? No. It's not into the system. Is this on? So there's a couple things with this, Rick. This is a continuation of the, looking at the rezoning of 17th Street, and this is specifically these parcels that are on Algoma Avenue and 17th. So there are, the subcommittee looked at it, and there are parcels on both sides of the road. The notice is for the Planning Commission to hold a public hearing to think about rezoning those parcels right there. The ones on the west side of the road are zoned AR Ag and would be rezoned to the NC. The ones on the east side of the road, the hearing is, do you want to rezone those to NC, but those also were just rezoned last fall to HC. So they were NC, but they were just rezoned to be HC, and they're kind of in between those two areas. So you can have the public hearing, take input on that, and then really the question is if we can conform the ordinance to whatever you decide to recommend. For the ones on the east side, do you want to leave those highway commercial, or do you want to rezone those as well to NC? So that's one issue. The other issue is there was a question at the last Planning Commission meeting about residential uses in the NC, and we didn't have the amendments right in front of us. And so I have those, and what the amendments do is they allow residential uses as a permitted use. So if there's a residential use in the zoning change to NC, it wouldn't be a non-conforming use, it would be a permitted use with a couple provisions. One is that existing dwellings and existing residential accessory buildings may be added to, may be expanded. They don't have to be destroyed or part of that provision generally with non-conforming buildings. The only requirement would be that they have to comply with the minimum building setback requirements in the R1. And then the other thing that the amendments did is they also allow new residential accessory buildings to be built, but they have to comply with the accessory buildings in the R1 as well. So, anyway, so they, the answer to the question is can you build buildings? The answer is yes. So that's pretty much it. I think really the issue is then to hold a public hearing, talk about rezoning those parcels to the NC, and then maybe specifically some clarity on the ones on the east side of the road. Do you want to rezone those to NC or leave those as HC? But I think the one thing that the master plan will call for would be to move them from the AR to one of those two zones. And then once you have the public hearing, you can table it, you can send it to the subcommittee, you can recommend it to the board, but then also remember later on the agenda is you tabled the ordinance for the rest of 17th to the west. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Ross. At this point, I will open up the public hearing. And it's on rezoning of 17 Mile. And you're gonna have, you can come up and state whatever you need to tell us about it. And then when everybody's done with that, I'll close the public hearing and then we will make a decision on what we're gonna do with it.
It says on our item number 1, scheduled public hearing for rezoning of Algoma Avenue.
Okay, this is the Algoma down to 17. Yep, my mistake on that. It is the rezoning for the Algoma Avenue. North of 17. So, yes, thank you for the correction. I guess at this point, I will open up the public hearing, and does anybody have anything they want to come up and say about it?
Hi, I live in Algoma Township, but I'm here representing my mother and my father. They live just north of there. I moved them down here to be closer. They're older, they love nature, they love that we're outdoors. That's why I chose that house for them. They have deer. My mom saw bald eagles the other day. There is so much traffic. My dad feeds all the different birds in that area. You can sit under their lean-to, and there is so much traffic and so many accidents, which I've witnessed going to visit them on the corner of Algoma and 17 Mile. It's the last thing we need. The last thing. My parents are in their 80s. Don't they deserve some peace? And this, if you pass it through, this is just the beginning. Gradually, it's just going to keep creeping and creeping. That's how it works. And people's lives, people's sanity, they deserve that. Their house value will go down in the dumps. Their taxes will go sky high. That's wrong. And they deserve to live in peace throughout the rest of their days that they have here. And I'm fighting for it. And another thing I want to say about the data center, since I'm up here, because I'm not a good speaker. Okay, so I have to address that at a different time. Okay. I'm sorry. But anyways, I really hope you take in consideration the people that live up and down that street. And I mean, thank God my parents have a UE driveway, because I would never back out of their driveway right now. It's that dangerous. And so why they want to redo 17 Mile and Algoma, I am totally against it. And I will fight till the end. Thank you.
Lene Hauser, Marsh Creek. I have a question. So I think I may be getting confused, just as you did, with the 17 Mile and the Algoma. Where was the public notice for this public hearing on Algoma? Because I know we had a public notice for the 17 Mile rezoning. I don't recall seeing any public notice for what you guys are stating is a public hearing for the Algoma. I believe that's a violation.
Ross, can you answer that?
No, I took it right here. We'll look into it.
Okay.
Close the public hearing and we'll look into
Okay,
It's unlawful to do
okay.
So we should probably table this.
We'll do the public hearing and then we'll table it and we will look into that. Anyone else?
I'm Sue Jacobs. My daughter was up here earlier. And I would like my great-great-grandchildren to be able to enjoy the environment we have now. Not what this rezoning and, I don't like businesses in our mile. We have so much traffic on our road as it is. I can't even open up my windows to get fresh air because it is so loud. I think you need to, I would like to know who started this on the Algoma Road. Who, why is it even happening?
You need to state, my mistake, you need to state your name and address for the record.
Oh, Sue Jacobs, 14099 Algoma. I'm right next to Huck's Corners. There's an empty lot between us. And I was number 1 on the list that the township sent me. So I'm really concerned about it and what this is going to do to our environment and to my home. We're, like my daughter said, we're in our 80s. We don't have much time left. We want to enjoy our time here. Thank you. From the township there, the 8 parcels were gonna be rezoned, but there was nothing in there about a public notice.
No notice of a public hearing.
No, no. It did tell about the March meeting, which I came to, but that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Melissa Keating, 14100 Algoma. I'll try not to get emotional. This has been a family home since I was 14. It's not just a place. My grandkids live with me, they go to school, they ride the bus, and it is crazy busy road, and you want to add more to it. It just doesn't make sense. I get you want 17 mile, because that's, there's stores. Algoma, there's no stores. I don't understand the reason to even go that way for commercial. It doesn't make sense to me. Unless it's for the data center. You get the data center in there, my family's gone.
Okay, it was brought to my attention that there was a notice published in the Rockford Squire on Wednesday, April 1st. There is no local paper in Cedar Springs, and it has to be published in a paper by state law. Quiet, or we will adjourn. I had it last month, and that's coming later, but no, we have to do public notices, and it has to be in a paper. There is no local paper in Cedar Springs. Rockford Squire is the closest one. And
The Bugle.
the Bugle comes out way after our meetings are done.
Before that.
And,
What's it on the town website?
so it was, and it was mailed out, and there is addresses here. The ones that involved, it was mailed out to them also, according to what I've got right here. So, is there any other discussion on, public hearing? I have no idea.
Is it on the website? No? Yes? Maybe. We don't know.
Anybody else have any comment on it?
Yeah, just ask the question. Was it on the website?
Was it? Was it on the website?
I have no idea. Yvonne, was it on the web?
See it offhand from the phone.
Yep. Yep. Yep, everything that legally had to be done, we done. And so, is there any other comment on the public hearing?
Deb Kubacki, I live at 2481 Solon, not for long, because we're getting hell out of here. But, I want to know, I'm sorry, I want to know who lied to me. I just found out, this doesn't have anything to do with this reason, but at the end of Solon in Edgerton, when they first started cutting down trees last year, I called to find out what was going on, and I was told there's one house being built there. There's a strip mall going in down there. Wow. That's why the new people are moving. They just built Beacon's house, and they're moving now. I don't blame them.
We're about to before that happens.
At the end of Solon, in Edgerton, by the expressway.
Oh, okay, yeah, I am. I'm not aware of what.
Well, when I called the township to find out what's going on, I was told that one house is going in back there.
Yeah, this is a public hearing on just the Algoma. There will be room for other comments later on. This just has to do with these few parcels on Algoma.
I want to know where you guys are all Algoma, like the road frontage
No.
and all that.
Right,
First four houses on each side.
first four houses on each side on Algoma, coming north from 17.
Which we didn't know anything about.
Seeing no other comments, I will close the public hearing.
I have a comment.
Julie Baker, 15476 Simmons Avenue. Now, given the traffic on 17 Mile and White Creek, now when I leave my house, I already go down Algoma in an effort to avoid the traffic that's increasing over on White Creek and 17 Mile. And now you're saying you're gonna put basically 4 parcels, or you're saying it's gonna affect 4 houses on each corner of Algoma and 17. And those are gonna be businesses that are put in there.
No.
Four houses north of 17 Mile on both sides.
Well,
Either way, that's already a dangerous spot when you're coming over the hill, okay? And you're coming down to Algoma. You know, from the highway, I've almost rear-ended somebody coming over the hill when there's somebody, you know, when there's traffic backed up there from the stop sign. I don't think it's appropriate to rezone that area whatsoever.
Thank you. Okay, sorry to be back, but I'd like to let you guys know that I live in Rockford, not too far from here. And I never got any notification of a public hearing whatsoever. And how do you expect people? Papers are obsolete now. Everything is done online. So it's totally wrong to expect everybody in here to have notice of something that's way out of the way. I live in Rockford. I didn't even hear about it. I don't take the paper. I look stuff up online. I go to these sources, and it's totally wrong to have anything done without the people being notified. And if there was a public hearing, that was done out of character, and you can't say publishing it in one newspaper is justifiable, period. And it should be redone, okay?
Lori Summers, 14134 Algoma. We're on our list. I have a question for you. The guy had said that we're zoned HC on the east side. How does changing from HC to NC affect my house?
It protects you
How?
so that you can get loans, you can put in a pool, you can put an outbuilding in, it gives you all the rights in R1. And that's part of what we're trying to do here is protect the existing homes that are there. And I don't know why so many people are upset about this. We're actually trying to extend normal homeowner rights to people such as yourself. So you can sell that home, the people that buy it can get a loan on that home. If it burns down, you can rebuild that home. And so we're trying to protect you in this particular case, and I don't get why all this is so upsetting to all of you.
Because you guys are not communicating properly. Exactly.
So if I wanted to, say, change my home into a assisted living for the elderly, a home for the aged, how would this affect that?
You actually have more rights now in this particular case than any of the other people. So you can do possibly both.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
This is not to attack. I think it's really we're used to now seeing and going to the website to look for notices from you guys. So it feels like with all of the good that has been happening and the conversations that have been happening, it's kind of, it's that hit again. And so I think for the community, it would feel better or great if we tabled this and ensured that there was more of a public notice throughout the community. Because even if we aren't individuals that live on Algoma, this is our township. And a lot of us have been coming here for these meetings, fighting for our township. It's not an argument against you. I think it's just ensuring that the people of the community are aware of what's happening and not feeling as though we're in the dark. Thank you.
So you're proposing that we table keeping these different ones from being from highway commercial to neighborhood commercial, leaving it as highway commercial? Is that what you're proposing?
No, the public hearing itself.
No, that's what we're trying to do, is figure out what to do with these homes. We want to put them back into neighborhood commercial from highway commercial. And you're saying to stop?
Can you explain, just explain it better?
Yeah, I guess if you're looking at it that way, do agree that based on the ordinances that I have looked at, in our township's ordinance, I agree. The neighborhood commercial is gonna be more protective than the highway commercial.
But we're talking about these addresses. You're proposing to leave them as highway commercial?
No, I'm proposing just to make sure that there is better public notice.
Okay, well, here's, how would you, or how would the public here like to be notified? And we're in this transition phase where we've gone from papers and newspapers to, we're trying to figure this out.
Yeah, so a lot of the public notices have been occurring on the website. That's all I was saying. They've been on the website, and so I think when I looked at the agenda, I'm like, I assumed like you were that was part of the 17-mile public hearing that was discussed in the meeting prior, and there was a scheduling there, and it was on the website.
These addresses here. We're trying to figure out what to do with these addresses.
Okay.
And that's what we're discussing.
Okay, for everybody's information, last month, it was announced at the meeting that we were having a public hearing, and we explained what this was about. And so anybody that was here should have got that. And Ross can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you do a public hearing, you have to send a notice to the parcels that are affected, and then we go by state law on what the rest of everything else has to do. And it used to be a whole lot easier because we had, the Cedar Springs Clipper years ago, the Post, we had local papers, and I do know the state is in the process of trying to figure out what we are gonna do because most of the local papers are gone. And what they determine, I don't know what they're gonna come up with, but we are doing what the state said we have to at this point. So.
I just might add, the notices are required to go to the addresses that are directly involved, as well as addresses within 300 feet surrounding those. So Rockford, we're not required to notify you. Other townships, we're not required to notify you, just those within 300 feet of the affected properties.
Debbie Majeski, 92 Chestnut. I find it a little condescending in this day and age. That would help. I'm Polish. Majeski. But in this day and age with technology, there is no excuse that you didn't have other avenues. I know because I worked a lot of politics for 45 years. Yes, you have to do 3 legal listings, and that's a given. But you got that money, you spent all that money on that digital sign outside the township. You've got the website, you've got everywhere you can put that. And work with the people if they think they have a different avenue they would like to have it put on. And just take care of your legal part in the newspaper. I get it. But you gotta work with them and not just say, too bad, too sad, okay? Because they take...
Hi folks, I know normally you don't address everybody here rather than, the board. I'm Jake Watson, I'm the owner and publisher of the Cedar Springs Bugle. I can tell you that state law requires them, everybody in the township, on the board, to post public notices in a weekly print newspaper that has been around for at least 2 years consistent. So I publish monthly currently. I don't know, like you said that newspapers are dying off. I'm actually seeing an increase in subscribers. We are actually moving to a larger size print newspaper, to a tabloid size, and that will actually have more frequent. So hopefully we'll get to a point where they can actually publish public notices in the Bugle. With that said, I would also welcome you, if you guys want to do public notices, I would do them for free on my website at csbugle.com. So just throwing that out there as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
14099 Algoma Avenue. I was at the meeting last month, first time I came to learn what was going on. And after the meeting, I had more questions than I had answers. And as I recall, my memory is 85 years old, so, you know, it could be lacking something, but I don't think so. The only thing we talked about on Algoma was that it would be tabled till this month. We did not talk about it at all.
17 mile road is tabled.
So what's Algoma?
When I started out, I misspoke and talked 17 mile. We were just doing the Algoma.
You had them separated last week, or last month, rather.
Yeah, and the Algoma is the one that we're doing the public hearing on. We're not doing anything.
But
separate.
you never mentioned that last month. You tabled it until this month.
Well, I will go back through the records and.
Do you record what you're saying up there?
What's that? Page 5 of the minutes that I just approved.
What now?
Page 5 of the minutes that we just approved from last month.
Well, I don't know what's on there. You guys approved it, but we don't know what's on there. And as I recall, I don't remember it being what you said.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm Katie Zink. I live at 2850 Solon. And I just wanted to let you know that I am on your website right now, and the very first thing that comes up is the 2026 Concerts in the Park starting on June 1st. And then there is a thing for assistant. And then the next one is for the cleanup for May 1st, which is interesting because the concerts don't start till June 1st. But you could have definitely had something on here for the rezoning for Algoma a long time ago. So I'm not exactly sure why that wasn't on there. I understand it has to be in print in several places, but I just brought this up, and this gives me tons of information about what you guys are doing, but it didn't give me the information about the Algoma rezoning, which is very close to my house on Solon, which makes me a little scared. Thank you.
Anybody else on this?
Just wanted to show you, gentlemen, it was tabled, but there is nothing at all about a public hearing at all.
Right there in the minutes. These minutes were recorded last month. Motion to set the public hearing. I can't read upside down. Motion to set the public hearing at next month's meeting on April 22nd for Algoma Avenue, additional addresses, because we didn't list all the addresses. And there was a motion and a second. It's right on the top of page 5. So it was done.
Denise over on No Name Road off of 19 Mile. The question I have is, you guys all want to be right. There's not a whole lot of talk about your legal obligations. I've heard that word a whole lot. And you're proving yourselves right. These are your neighbors. These are the people that are paying for all of this. I don't hear a darn thing about moral obligation. And you really ought to have that. Because these folks, this is their life. It's not a contest of the legal obligations. You have a moral obligation to this community as well. They put you in this position and they can take you out just as quick. You need to think about that because it doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of moral obligation to the people who you are supposed to represent. You're going to do what you're going to do, and you're going to do the legal amount you have to, but ain't nobody talking about the backside of it, the moral, what's going to happen to these folks. And opening all this up to more traffic and things like that, this woman in her home, I get it. We've only lived over off of 19 Mile for 5 years now. When we moved in, I could walk my dog down to Salone and around the corner to Simmons, I mean. Maybe a car, maybe one car. Today, on purpose, I counted, there was 15 in 1 hour. That's the traffic, and that's every day. So however much progress you want to cram down our throats, it's not working. You're losing your whole aura, the reason people live here. You know, it's turning into, I don't know, I lived in Luther, and they had better communication, okay? You know Luther, right? They had better communication than this. They thought more of their neighbors and people that put them in the spots they're in than I'm hearing here, let me tell you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we're gonna close the public hearing. What do you wanna do on, what the board wanna do on, rezoning?
I think number one, since this does tie directly or indirectly to the rezoning on 17 miles, we should look at them as one project and consider them. We've had public hearing on each one now, so we need to make some determinations on where to go with these, both of these projects.
The 17-mile rezoning is down under unfinished business. No matter what we do with the zoning out there, it's not going to stop the traffic. The traffic's there. We're trying to regulate some things and give the people on 17 Mile Road and Algoma some other options that they could have a home-based business if they want one. Without taking away the character, without having businesses throughout the whole township. We looked at it as a opportunity to put it down just north of 17 Mile Road on Algoma, and from Algoma to Division. I don't know what you want us to do, because if the traffic's that bad down there, we could eliminate all the houses and just say no more building at all on Algoma.
Why?
And 17 Mile. You're telling us the traffic's that bad. And I agree with you, it is. But making this change is not going to diminish the traffic down through that area. It's going to give people options of what they can do. On Algoma, on the east side, it is zoned highway commercial. We're giving those 4 houses on the east side the opportunity to go back to the neighborhood commercial, which allows them so much more flexibility to work with and be able to get their loans. It's harder to get a loan in highway commercial than what it is in neighborhood commercial. We're trying to help you. We're not trying to beat you up. And I don't know what else to say.
I think if you had started with that explanation, it would have been
I
proper notice that, you know.
I hear what Mark is saying, and he's saying we're doing this to protect you. For one reason, the highway commercial is a higher density, higher pollutant, whatever you want to say, higher use than what the neighborhood commercial is. So the neighborhood commercial becomes a buffer between the highway commercial and the residential area. And that's what we're trying to do on the one hand. On the other hand, Mark was asking about the traffic. Yes, you're concerned about the traffic now, but they're also, Mark, concerned about increase in traffic because of businesses going on all those properties. That would be an increase in traffic.
In the future, it could. But you could also put a housing development down there and get that many more cars out of there too. On any piece of property down through that area. Not neighborhood commercial. But if it's residential, you could. And that's where, if we leave it the same, you could have, and if the state gets what they want, you could have hundreds of units down through there. So, yeah, it may increase it over the years, but I don't know that it's gonna increase it that much. Traffic itself is just gonna increase. There's more people being pushed out of Grand Rapids, and where are they going? They're coming up here. We're trying to make a logical decision on where growth should be and what we should do. Growth's coming. It's just how do we handle it and where do we place it and what do we do with it? And this makes the most sense to do it in this way and keep businesses on the main roads. I know it's hilly down through there. I wish the speed limit wasn't 55. Well, that's a whole different story all the way into Cedar Springs. That's MDOT. And you guys need to get on MDOT about it. It's not we've tried, we've said it before here. We have tried and tried to come up with different ideas. And it's just going to increase.
Could I just want to back up what Mark's saying. Is this on? Yep. Developments, is that right? Okay. Developments we have not a whole lot of control over because a lot of that goes to the state. So we can kind of have our hand in it a little bit. But that corridor, 17 Mile Road, what's the option if we don't do something now? And already a large tract of that is owned by a large developer. And that could be turned into many, many homes. And so we're trying to get ahead of this curve and just channel the commercial onto that road and yet protect the homes that are already there. So what are our options? I mean, a lot of you are really upset about this, but I don't know where to go with it. Because you say traffic's the problem. Do you know what large developers will do up and down that corridor? And that we have very, very little control over. And that's just the truth of it.
And may I think this is really healthy, and you guys have, pointed out some things to us, and the website, little Sleepy Solon is, going into the future. Heck, we might even go, less than part-time, but remember, it's, we're open 3 days a week, and everybody's doing a pretty good job, but there's a whole lot of new, things happening, so it's very healthy that you guys are now coming to the meetings. Nobody here is without morals that I know. All these guys are serve because they want to serve our neighbors and the community. That's why we're all here. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it. Your input is good. I agree, we should have it on the website and, pick up the guy at the paper to put it on. So, there's some good input here, but there again, whether we're gonna change those 8 houses, yeah, it used to be great when you could walk around, a county mile and see one car. Now you're seeing, 15. Nothing's gonna stop that. People are going to be coming up here. So again, when I got on the board, it was just so it doesn't turn into an Alpine or a 28th Street. What can we do? I want our town to look beautiful. We want, setbacks and this and that, but I don't want it to look like Alpine. I care about this community too, just like you guys do. So, yeah, we've learned some good things from you, but believe me, we're on your side. No one is against you, and if we're just moving along, it's because we're looking out 30 years from now, and so many things, because we have to. We do care about our future, our kids, all that kind of stuff. So, I think we could put it on, that we could make a motion, table it, and put it on the website. Because, yeah, that could have been our bad. We just learned a good lesson, so.
Ross, have you got any comments on this? None? Okay.
Putting it on the website is up to township staff.
Yeah,
I don't know how your website is run, but if you
I
want to
have no
if you
idea.
want to table it a month and see if it can be put on there, sure.
Yeah.
Like, if you could just table the whole thing. See what we do.
Or you've done the public hearing.
Yeah, the public hearings are done. You can just table it. You can take it back up when you're ready.
Never voted on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And well, you're just representing the board.
Yeah.
I'll make it a motion that we table it till next month. And it'll be on the website. There will not be a public hearing next month. This was a public hearing. Just like last month, the public hearing was for 17 Mile. And then tonight it's for Algoma. We'll take it up next month and vote on it then.
Been moved and seconded to table this. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion passed. We will table this, and we will bring this up next month and see what changes.
So that doesn't mean that it's a done deal. It just means we learned we should have put it on the website and, made it more. It doesn't mean that this is foregone. Your input is great. These aren't town hall meetings. These are board meetings that you're more than welcome to give input. So if we don't sit and try and convince you and everything, or be the PR department for or against the data center or anything, that doesn't mean that's how we feel. It just means we're listening to you. And this isn't a dinner party that we're chatting about. We're listening to all you have to say. So if we're kind of stone-faced about it, we're listening, but we can't really interact like at a town meeting. Maybe we should have one of those sometime, or barn days, but that's what this is about. We do listen to your input. We have listened to the input of people years before.
Vicki Babcock, I have permission to speak, Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify this a little bit.
It will not be a public hearing, but that doesn't mean that people can't speak in public comments prior to on the agenda, correct? Okay, thank you.
To sway your board, what about that? You're planning.
Okay, moving on. Draft number 3, ordinance amendment on the data center. Ross, you wanna give us the update on that?
So the subcommittee met again this month, following up the comments and the discussion last month. And so what you have before you now is draft number 3 that has the changes that the subcommittee is now recommending. The main change was the subcommittee recommended, so we put in this limiting medium scale, hyperscale, digital mining uses in data centers to the light industrial district only. Before, the way it was set up is it was in the light industrial and the ag with a specific place limitation. So they had to be south of 17 Mile by the power lines. And so that would come out because that is not zoned to light industrial all the way down to 16 miles. So that's the biggest change really, is taking it out of the ag zone. Obviously, you don't have enough land currently zoned light industrial, so that could be an issue if somebody comes in, but I think the decision would be, well, they can apply for rezoning, and if they say, well, you don't have the land, so we're being excluded, we'll just deal with that argument as it comes. And this does seem to be the trend of where townships are going to zoning it to the industrial, even if there's not enough land for it. So that's the big change, is moving it out of the ag just to light industrial and removing the location requirement because you couldn't have it. There were some construction phasing requirements added to prohibit construction before 6 a.m. or later than 8 a.m. in that provision. There were some noise regulation changes made both in the special land use standards and in the other one. There was specifically added in the decommissioning requirements that the data center itself must be removed. There was a requirement to add a proof of compliance with FAA requirements. And then with the green belt, how it was set up before, it referred to the green belt general requirements of the zoning ordinance instead. And those are on page 16 and 17. It just has specific standards for green belts, including a 50-foot yard buffer with a 6-foot, minimum 6-foot high, 10-foot wide berm with plantings on it. So those are the basic changes from draft number 2. Other than that, everything else is the same. Happy to answer any questions, or subcommittee members are here too.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything they want to?
My concerns are all redlined on the draft number 3, which are many. Some are just typos, some are words that are missing, or wrong words put in, that should be changed. Others are more substantial. I submitted most of this to the subcommittee, at least I thought I did, but apparently didn't get, either they outvoted me or else they ignored it. I'm not sure which, but there's still several issues that I think should be addressed.
I didn't see yours, John, so, so maybe we'd have to get that, maybe send it to the subcommittee, can meet again, make sure that they get it. If you want to email it to me, I can bring it there too.
I didn't yet. miscommunication there, yes. Yes, I did receive that. And, oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, there was some miscommunication there. Yeah, this is nothing we're gonna really do anything with tonight. We just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention, what we're doing so far. We're gonna find time to do another subcommittee meeting and go over things, and yes, we will include the things from John's. So yeah, I guess that being said, anybody else have anything else they want to say about it?
If any of the other planning commission members have questions or ideas, please feel free to get it to the subcommittee as soon as possible so we can meet and walk through some of that. We have to look at it, and we're trying to do everything we can to be as fair to everybody as we can in the ordinance, and to watch out for our residents in our community. We have to be careful as far as how we do it and what we do. We have to, and that's where our attorney comes in, because he's the one that has to defend it either way. And so we want to make sure it's fair to everybody involved, and so he can also defend it that way also. So, but if you have anything in the next week or so, please get it to us, and we'll meet and take a look at it.
Yeah, anybody else have anything they want to add? Seeing none, we will move on. Unfinished business, draft number 2, ordinance amendment on the rezoning of 17 Mile. I got that right this time. This is the one we talked about, and we tabled it last month. What we have thought we were going to do, we're going to wait and we will vote on the 17 Mile and the Algoma one at the same time. And so we're probably, if anybody has any discussion on it, we'll discuss it, but otherwise I'm thinking we're just going to table it and look at them both next month.
I'll make a motion that we table it till next month and look at both of them at the same time.
Well, just to retable it, I mean, we revisited it. Is there support?
Support.
Been moved and seconded to retable the rezoning 17 Mile vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion passed. Okay, any planning commission members have anything? Seeing none. Correspondence received. I did not see anything, so. Report of Township Board Representative.
I've got several different things. One, I wrote them down so I made sure I remembered them all. First, I want to apologize to Frost Creek Church on behalf of the Township Board, and I'm sure other planning commission members feel the same way about last month's meeting. And also thank the church for changing their decision and allowing us to hold meetings here again. Hopefully we can keep things under control tonight. That's one. Second, and to the Planning Commission, as of April 1st in our new budget, 26, 27, your pay has gone up. I don't know if you were made aware of that or not, but we went from a whole $100 a meeting to $125 a meeting. We thank you for doing a good job, a great job, and as it's become a thankless job in the last months, and we know that. And the board appreciates it, and I appreciate it. And if you haven't read the articles in the Township Focus, please take time to read that pertaining to the legislation that's out there. It gives you the bill numbers and everything pertaining to the changes that they want to make, and as far as the control townships and municipalities have on building sizes, on parcel sizes, and also on the sizes for buildings, and mobile homes, single wides, and all kinds of stuff in there. So please take time to read that. I think it's online. A lot of times it's sent to you. You haven't seen it? Okay. We can get that for you. And I encourage all of you, if you want to know the bill numbers and the information, just let us know and we can have that for you. You need to call your legislatures. Otherwise, meetings like this will have no effect on us because it's all state run. And that's the direction it's headed. So let us know and we can get you those numbers.
Okay, Board of Appeals. Nothing. Zoning Administrator.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Moving on. Now we're down to the public comment. And, well, the way last month went was not good. I guess I am going to take some responsibility for what happened at the meeting. I have been on the Planning Commission for quite a few years. I've been chair for a while. And I've been to a lot of training seminars that we have to go to. And they tell us how we're supposed to run meetings and all that. And when it comes to the public comment, you're supposed to come up and you make comments. It's not a question and answer time. I went against them and I did not agree with that. I felt if somebody came up here and had a legitimate question, we should answer it. But they kept telling us at our meetings, on our training sessions, that's not what that is. That is public comment. You come up and make a comment, and we listen to it. Well, I went against them and did not agree. They told me the day was going to come I would regret it. Well, it did. And what they told me was they really felt bad for what I was doing because they said, right flat out, they said a handful of people are going to ruin it for everybody else. Well, that's what happened last month. So starting tonight is the new rules, like I have been told that it's supposed to be. You're still going to come up and do your public comment. Don't expect an answer because we're not going to answer anything. It is just a comment session. We will jot down questions and you're probably going to have to come to the township and get answers. If we can, maybe we'll try and answer them at the next month meeting. But that's the way we were told they were supposed to be run. I did not agree with it, and it did come back and get me. And I guess that's why they run the training sessions, and I still go to them. If I knew more than them, I guess I would be running them. But saying that, same basic rules. I mean, you're going to get 2 minutes, and everything is supposed to be addressed to me, the chair, not to the general audience. It's up here, and everybody up here on the board is being told not to answer questions because that is the way it's supposed to be run. I will say I don't agree with it, but that's what we've got to do because of last month. So, saying all that, I will open it up for public comment. Who wants to be first?
Yeah, can you help?
Sarah Biggins, 6017 Mountain Road, Northeast, Cedar Springs. Good evening. I would like to discuss, or just chat to you about exclusionary zoning. I think one of the things that's giving us troubles is not everyone's on the same page except understanding exclusionary zoning. So, Michigan's Zoning Enabling Act, established July 1st, 2006, so this is not a new law, is a law that says local governments cannot enact exclusionary zoning for any land use if there is a demonstrated need in the local region or state, and if it is a valid and lawful land use under state guidelines. So if I can expand on that a little bit further. To put it plainly, if a data center fits within the zoning and meets all legal requirements, a township cannot outright refuse, even if they want to. The board cannot just say no. We cannot just say no. Specifically, the no banning clause of this law prohibits local governments from banning a lawful land use, even if the residents voted not to allow it. Unfortunately, data centers are an established lawful land use in Michigan. There are serious legal risks to our township if we are found to be exclusionary. In Saline Township, their board members voted no, based on the simple fact that a data center did not fit within their master plan. Seems completely reasonable. The developer sued, a court found them to be exclusionary, and the project was passed through anyways at high cost to the township. And I know these are really upsetting facts to hear, but there is still a lot we can do together. The Planning Commission can use their experience and, coupled with the input from our residents, to craft a protective and defensive zoning ordinance that is not exclusionary, but that data centers developers will find so distasteful that they will look elsewhere. A zoning ordinance that makes it clear that putting a data center here will be more burden than benefit to them. And we, the residents, keep showing up to work with the township together that shows our community will not be bulldozed by corporate bullying. We will push back together. Lastly, since many of our hurdles come from the state level, we can all tell our legislators we demand real protections from data centers in Michigan. Thank you for listening.
I have handouts for you. Rebecca Smallwood, I'm a resident of Solon Township, and a member of the Solon Township Stop the Data Center Volunteer Group. I'd like to respectfully request that the Planning Commission schedule a working session meeting dedicated only to the data center ordinance, and also consider forming a small community advisory group to be involved in reviewing the draft ordinance. By a working session, I mean a publicly noticed open meeting where the commission can take the time to walk through the ordinance in detail, ask questions, and fully understand the potential impacts before moving forward with decisions. Given the scale and long-term implications of this type of development, a session like this would help ensure that key issues such as infrastructure capacity, water use, energy demand, and overall community impact are clearly understood and supported by objective information. It would also provide a transparent and open setting where residents can observe the discussion and better understand how decisions are being made. I would also ask that this working session include a meaningful opportunity for public comment, ideally at both the beginning and the end, so residents can respond to what they hear. In addition, I encourage the Commission to consider forming a small community advisory group to review the draft ordinance as it develops. This would not be a decision-making body, but a way to incorporate structured input from residents earlier in the process when feedback can be most useful. Public comment alone often comes after drafts are already formed, and this would allow for more constructive input before positions are finalized. I also want to be clear about our group's intent. Our goal as a volunteer group is not to create obstacles or be combative, but to help ensure that any ordinance that is created helps protect this community as much as possible. Our group has already spent many hours poring over this draft ordinance, and we have submitted to you our concerns in the printouts that you were just handed. I'm asking you to please utilize our passion and willingness to put time and effort into this to help build a better ordinance. Since I'm not allowed to ask questions, I was going to say, is there any likelihood that you would consider either of these proposals, but I will not wait for an answer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pat Anderson, 2875 Wiersma.
I don't want to get in the head with it.
Question is, we were under the influence that, the thought that this data center was going to be hooking into the city water and the city sewage and everything else like that. When I talked to the city said, they're not hooking into anything. We stop at White Creek. We're not extending it. So therefore, all their toxic waste will be going into the ground right where they sit. All right? That also means they're going to have to drill a lot of big wells, which is going to drop the water content in that area. So anybody with a shallow well, it will be dry. So my question is, can you guys check into this and find out why we were informed or we thought that they were going to be hooking into this city, and the city said they have no intention of doing anything with the data center whatsoever. Now, that's the way we understood it when we were down there and we talked to them. So, my question is, what's going on here? Are we getting misinformation somewhere, or we were just thinking that's what was going to happen? All right, question.
Well, good evening. My name's Linda Blanchard. I'm one of the owners. Oh, sorry. My name's Linda Blanchard. I'm one of the owners of Thermal Tech with my brother Robert Sitterling. We're located directly north of a proposed development in the data center. Just a little background. We've worked really hard to build our business for the last 45 years, and have spent 35 of those years supporting this community. We employ about 60 people locally and nearly 300 individuals and families. We believe in this township, and we are deeply invested here, not just as business owners, but as neighbors. What brings me here tonight is because it's so important to all of these people in this room. This is not just a zoning decision. This is a legacy decision. In my career, I've served on hospital boards, corporate boards, community organizations, and the responsibility was always the same. Make decisions that protect and strengthen the people we serve, not just today, but long term. Be proud of the impact that you're going to make here. Because if approved, this proposal is not temporary. We're talking about a facility that will be useful for 15 to 20 years, running 24 hours a day, bringing constant light, noise, and demand on resources and power. The long-term usefulness of this will pass, but the physical impacts will remain. Technology changes fast. We all know that. What's cutting edge today will be outdated tomorrow. But buildings like this do not disappear as technology moves on. So the question for you today is simple. What kind of township do we want to be? Yes, there are some short-term financial gains for sure. But at what cost? To our character, to our environment, to our quality of life. This decision will outlast all of you in this room. Future residents, very likely your family members, will have to live with the consequences that we're talking about. My brother and I built our company on a simple principle. Success isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in trust, relationships, and long-term impacts that we leave behind. I respectfully ask that you apply the same standards here. Stand and listen to this community. It's important. What you are doing is important. Don't let the Microsofts of the world tell us how to run our world. Stand up to them. Deny them what they want. Think long-term and make decisions that protect the health and future of our township. Thank you.
Hi, Mary Deploff. I'm John's neighbor. First I wanted to thank, hey, he's got the best neighbor ever, right, John? I want to thank you guys. I mean, it doesn't, escape me, and I'm sure everybody here, that you guys are doing a service to this community, and so thank you for that, all right? Really, I don't have much to say, but there was a Republican Oversight Committee meeting in Lansing today where people from, public were allowed to come and make comment. And I highly recommend that you guys, it's on YouTube, and listen to that. I got about halfway through and then I had to come here today, but it's really, people from all over the state, really articulate statements, going through some of the specifics that they're facing in their community and so on and so forth. And one that stood out to me was this guy that lives 1.5 miles away from the Saline Township that is currently under construction, that data center. And he said he hears the construction noise at his house. And so, I mean, I'm thinking 7 years of that, and 1.5 miles he's hearing it. It's gonna be crazy. And the last thing I just want to say, I'm not worried about me, but I can't get over thinking about those people in the retirement community. They're butt up against it. They're not going to be able to open their windows for 7 years. Their yards are going to be a pile of dust. I mean, it's just going to be horrible. It's almost criminal that a company could build something like that next to those folks. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anna Felposh. I'm a resident of Solon Township. I was going to start my statement with a question, so I'll still say it, but you guys don't have to answer. I was wondering if you could share how many times the subcommittee had met and how much time you had spent working on the ordinance. The group of resident volunteers who has no obligations has met numerous times for hours each session, reviewing the ordinance, doing hours of our own research, and meeting with our own independent lawyer. The ordinance is something that will shape the township for the rest of time. Its contents could be the most important thing the contents could be the most important thing you have a part of in your time serving Solon Township. We're asking that you schedule a working meeting or a town hall where the residents of this township have an opportunity to work alongside you on this ordinance. This gives you an opportunity to hear from the township's residents in a constructive way beyond just listening to our public comment. Please show us you care about how the community feels and agree to meet with us to review the ordinance together. Individually and as a group, we care a lot. As you can tell, we're all here, we're not trying to cause issues or be contentious. We want to help you get this ordinance in a place where it's effectively protecting the community. Please consider meeting with us, and at the very least, take seriously the concerns that we've outlined in our handout. We've spent hours and hours and hours working on that, the one that Rebecca gave you guys earlier. Agricultural and residential land was meant for growing food and growing families, not housing thousands of computer servers. Thank you.
Jim Van Sickle in Cedar Field, home. Someone was just up speaking that in 7 years our homes will be all dust from a building. Well, we've had multiple years, we've been there 12 years, of overspray from the farmers' spray when they spray the crops, about 7 times a year. When they're working the fields, we get the dust, the dirt from that. But the other question that I actually had was in that zoning thing was talking about rezoning it from agricultural to something else. I don't know what that was. But does that mean that it can't be agricultural again? So that's what I was wondering, because it could, if it can be agricultural, it could turn out to be commercial farm, pig farm, turkey farm, chicken farm, and what's to stop the zoning of that? What's to stop that in my backyard? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Martha Rayburn. We live in Algoma Township on 2695 Indian Lakes Road. Our property, our farm, directly abuts where the data center is proposed. We have an 8-foot well. We have a pond on our property. There's a trout stream, which is part of Cedar Creek. There's also what I believe is a log that is on Algoma Avenue. These water resources are precious, and I believe that the stated amount of water that this data center will use is grossly underrated, understated, and also the electricity draw. We have the power lines running right behind our property. Actually, it was right on our property, actually. Consumers bought 10 acres of it about 40 years ago. That property it's our family farm. It's a 100-year farm, and we don't want it to be, I believe the best word would be desecrated by this data center. But thank you very much, gentlemen.
Cindy Pat. Whoa, sorry. Algoma Township. Chairperson CB, I'm back again. Thank you all. I know this is redundant and we're all sitting here and our hinds are tired of sitting here, but I just want to reiterate again as part of our volunteer group that we are also looking at how we can approach this from the state and federal level as well. So we know this is just not resting on your shoulders because not one of you asked for this, just like not one of us asked for this. And again, we have a 1.5 pages of signatures now of people who were interested in signing the letter to implore the Moore family to reconsider, because we believe and we know from past experience and past research that we've done, when the farmer says no, the data center can't go in. But I never offered to any of you to be able to add your signature, so I will remain here cordially afterwards. If you'd like to add your signature to the letter too, we have a page 3 now going. So, but I just want to let you know that we are just as interested in preserving our township. Although I'm on Algoma, I'm less than a mile from this project. My well's only 40 feet deep, and I have a creek running right through my yard as well. So I just really want to preserve that piece, because even though my legacy isn't like 1,000 acres, my little acres is what I have as a legacy too. And I think each of us feel the same way about our little piece of the legacies that we get to pass on. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tony Maurer, 5035 Campus Hill Drive, and I actually want to build off of what she said. She talked about how this isn't just a township issue, it's also a state federal issue as well. I wanted to make sure that you guys on the board and everybody in the audience knew about some of the legislation that's been introduced in Lansing. House Bills 5594 through 5596 would put a statewide moratorium across data centers. We talked about the exclusionary zoning issue that would get rid of that exclusionary zoning issue. And just to speak bluntly about the situation, our elected representatives in Lansing, I do truly believe that the vast majority of them want to do a good job. They want to do good for the community. But, just being honest, the two utilities in the state, DT and Consumers, they have a lot of money that they're set to make off of these data centers. That's just the reality of the situation. And because they're the two biggest lobbies in the state, our representatives are going to hear their side of the story. That they will make sure that they know every single reason why these data centers, are supposedly a good thing to come into Michigan. I want to make sure that you guys, as a township, I think would have a very strong, it would be a very strong message to be able to show our elected representatives if townships like you guys, or, in your individual capacity, were to speak out in support of this legislation, and also everybody here as members of the public, if you would like to have to reach out. Those bills are currently in the House Committee on Government Operations. I have a flyer here that does have every single one of those representatives' emails. If you would like to reach out, which I would encourage you to do, to make sure that our representatives are hearing our side of the story, I will be in the back and would love to hand you one. Thank you.
So I'm Jessica Schulte, and I've been on the board of directors for the Rogue River Watershed Partners for the last 10 years. And our board is very concerned about protecting Cedar Creek and the trout stream and the water quality. And so we just wanted to represent that voice tonight. Thank you.
Not sure how close this is to stand, but sorry. John Wheaton, 1959 Solon Street, Cedar Springs. I moved here because I wanted to get out of Grand Rapids. Been in IT for over 40 years. I know data centers. I work in data centers. I wish there were more data centers. We're constantly struggling trying to find computer systems, finding a home for them as business that began to say we don't want it in our facility anymore. We want to put it in the cloud. Cloud is really data center. So a couple comments. Having been in data centers for at least 30 years, they don't stop growing. Comments were made that 15 years from now it'll be an empty building. No, it'll grow. Most of the data centers I've been into on Broadmoor, Grand Rapids, US Signal in Detroit, Chicago, are in municipalities, they're in large cities, because they have the infrastructure to support them. But they consume water, electricity, they become ghost towns. I mean, when I go to a data center, I'm lucky to find 2 people. And so you have to make an appointment to get in there. So as far as the tax revenue, I can't speak to that, but as far as ongoing jobs behind construction, besides construction, there aren't any. I mean, it's really, the revenue comes from businesses that I support that are just looking for a place to put stuff. So as a resident here, I'm against it because I don't think we have the facilities to support it. But wholeheartedly, I believe we're gonna have to do something somewhere. But I would look at large cities like Grand Rapids, Lansing, Detroit, before I would look at a community in this area. So, thanks.
Dwayne Ritter, 17 Mile Road. The idea of asking the community to help, or the community saying we're able to help, is nothing new. Following the first meeting, I'll pat myself on the back. I walked up here, spoke to the chair, suggested that they should involve the community in this. We saw that never happened. I wrote a letter immediately following the last meeting on March 30th to both the superintendent of Solon Township and to the chair of this committee, and suggesting to them why we had the issues we had last month and how that should be taken care of, how it should be cleared up, and again, offering the community support. I want to say thank you to those people from this group that have done all they can, that they could, and having offered, but I want you to know this has been offered. The community's offered to help you guys for over 2 months now. And the lack of your willingness to ask these community members who are willing to do it for free, where we know you're all being paid to do it, we're offering it to you for free, and yet you turn us back. So I think that's poor on your part.
Hi. First, we were at the last month's meeting when it got a little rowdy, But I think the meeting went well up until the point we were told he didn't work for us. Then everyone stood up. So the meeting went pretty good until we were informed of the fact. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's when things took a turn. And 1 car to 15 cars, that's at 11 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just trying to let you guys know, there are no sidewalks, there's no lines in the roads, there's nothing. So we don't have what you need to have this kind of traffic. You wanna turn it into where you can't walk down the road? There's no, you know, do you understand what I'm saying? You can't even walk down the road and not have to stop 15, 20 times. Oh, there's no sidewalk, there's no line in the road, so it don't matter. There's just so much going on right now, and everybody I don't feel is being considered. I know you're trying, it's a tough spot. It is a tough spot. But these are your people, you know? Please take some of our comments into consideration. And I know you can't answer, that was reiterated quite well earlier, although we do deserve some answer to some of these questions. So how can that happen? Help me. How can we find out the questions we have? Because I'm not the only one thinking these questions, other people are too. So how can we have something like that where, these people really do matter, and they keep showing up, and they just wanna know what is going on? What are you thinking, and how can we work better together on this? That's all. Oh, do we need a new attorney? I don't know. Do we have one? You know, that's when things took a turn. So condemning that meeting before that is wrong. Everybody was pretty well behaved. It's a tough issue. It's affecting everyone's lives. It's affecting your grandchildren's lives. And there's been a whole lot of stories about projects being taken by people on the board, a lot of speculation about what's going on, and maybe a question and answer kind of meeting would be appropriate. So you don't all have different ideas of what's truly happening. That'd be great to have the honesty and the honest answer and eye-to-eye conversation. That's all. Okay?
John Nix, here in Cedar. I scratched my head tonight, listen, trying to follow you gentlemen up there. Is there any way we can get clarity before you come up here and start talking about things so we can follow along a little better? Understand what you're saying, you know, like, Mark, you gave some good clarity of actually what was going on. Maybe lead with that, or give us some documentations prior. You know, we're all here, we're concerned, and we're going to keep coming. But instead of asking you guys 50,000 questions, is there any way we can get it on the website prior? We're still trying to find, I couldn't find the revision of the ordinances. I emailed and I said we were not able to get them until after the meeting. In my opinion, it'd be nice, something that we can follow along with you guys up here. And then there's a lot more understanding between the board and the public. Can we get it on the website prior? I guess that's what everyone goes there. It's just, it's not very clear. I think that would help tremendously.
Yeah, me again. Brian Carline, 3331 Solon. It's really a shame how last week finished, because I don't hear that well, but what I could hear sounded like you guys are putting together a pretty good plan to make it difficult for the data center. And I was really anxious to see it on paper, but we couldn't find it. But anyway, so it's gonna be out soon, I hope. And so, but what I can hear, I think you guys should be showing some appreciation for that. So, and I hope it's true what I was hearing, so, all right.
Renee Hauser, Marsh Creek. Yes, I do think we are, that's what I was trying to say before. I think that things are going well, that you guys are listening to some of the things I think like has been asked. It would be great if the community could, or a few of us could be involved in having a working session. One thing I do want to say is that today is Earth Day. And my biggest thing with this has been about the environment, so I think it's very interesting that today we have a meeting and we are talking about a data center. And to follow up, I also wanted to request that the draft number 3 be on the website, just like the other ones were, so thank you for putting those out there and getting those out there. And I'd also love if and when you decide to take your field trip to Indiana, if there's any way that that could be some sort of notice to the public as well. I'd love to attend that. Thank you.
Hi, this is Kendra Cole, and I live in Algoma Township. So this really affects me also. I can tell you for a fact, I wish I had say, I had an orchard go in behind where I live, and the turbines, which in Pennsylvania, they say the data centers sound just like these turbines. Well, let me tell you, I've gone 5 days in a row when the temperatures are 40 degrees and lower without sleep. I can't pick up my house and turn it around. I was there first. I didn't have any vote for that. They're spraying all kinds of chemicals on those orchards. The wind blows my way. I have grandkids that I love dearly. Besides myself and my children when they come, family, friends, neighbors. Please don't let this happen. Please don't let this happen. And I heard a couple of the sections of the data center around Algoma Township. And that hasn't been addressed in our township yet. I will give you that fact. But I will be there to protest it. But it's terrible. I feel for anybody that lives anywhere near these. I mean, it's like you're sitting in an airplane and it's getting ready, just revving its engine to get out. Got all my doors shut. I've got pillows over my head. It is terrible. And, you know, you can only put up so many days of that. It's been 2 times this week when the temperatures were low. It's not good. It's not healthy in any way, shape, or form. It kills wildlife. So I really hope all of you take this into consideration. I really wish they had a place. Who do all of you report to with all of our questions? It would be nice to be somewhere where our questions would be answered. Really, what good? We all make our points here, but why not go to the horse's mouth, they say. You know, I know it's an older character, but I go straight to the horse's mouth if there's an issue. I don't go from this person to this person to this person to get answers. And that's the way things should be done, period. I thank you all.
My name is Mary McKee. I live at 13401 Olin Links Drive. For me, one of the most concerning things related to the data center is water. We live on one of the most pristine sources of water. And a data center uses millions of gallons in a single day. I would like something included in the ordinance that speaks on how those drills are, created in order to preserve the quality of the water that we all drink from. I'm sure many of you included. My brother and sister-in-law are about to have a baby, and that baby will have to grow up drinking that water too. My main concern is protection of our water. In addition to what was previously spoken on with the noise, we need to have limitations on how much noise is produced in the size of this building. The way it's looking, it could be larger than the downtown of Cedar Springs. A building of that size can create an incredible amount of noise. And that not only causes sleep problems, but has rippling health effects. And where are we to cash in from the profits that they make to pay for those costs of health care or cost of death? The property value of everyone that lives within 10 miles of a data center is going to plummet. The mire that we all go to, that a lot of people in the rural North Kent County, Montcalm counties rely on, will probably close because they will not be able to operate next to a data center. Water.
Anyone else?
Would you allow a second time consent? Oh, I'm still too short, but we're gonna make it work. Sarah Higgins, still 6017 Mile Road. Correct me if I'm wrong. The draft ordinance already says that the data center would have to use public water. So, just so everybody knows, public water we do not have in Solon Township. So, I'm not saying ask Cedar Springs again, but maybe I am saying ask Cedar Springs again, because they're the only ones around here that have public water. And we are already covering ourselves by saying it has to be public water, it's my understanding. So, that's all I want to share. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we're gonna close public comment. Anybody have anything else they wanna? Okay, I guess that is it for tonight. Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same.